Hello, everyone. Jonathan Dean here.
And Elvin Handy.
We'd like to welcome you to
Off the Axis
Podcast. We got a lot to go over today, guys. A lot has happened. Last couple weeks. We were at a standstill with news, but boy, have things exploded.
Yeah, I've been rolling in.
Got a lot to discuss on Iran today. We're going to hammer that pretty hard, obviously. Got a few other things we're going to talk about pertaining to some House bills. At the end, we'll discuss a little bit about the upcoming UFC White House card.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting.
That's really interesting.
But I guess let's dive on in. Let's get started. Iran, guys. So what is going on? We are in day 11.
I'm going to tell you what's going on. The dumbest war I ever saw in my life.
We can agree. Day 11 of the dumbest war I've ever seen in my life. It's there are a lot of questions the American public is asking.
Definitely a lot of questions.
People want answers as to why. People want answers to what. People want answers as to what the outcome or resolution that we're hoping for is. And it seems that we're not really getting a lot of answers.
Yeah, we're not.
But what we are getting is United States military member deaths.
Yeah, we're on number 8 now, you say?
Yep. And that's just the military member deaths. We're having an increase in terrorist attacks at home.
Yeah, I saw that.
We've had 5.
Saw that.
While they're not outright claiming these things to be related, we have had 5 terrorist attacks in the United States in the last week and a half. Jake Lang was attacked, which, yes, Jake Lang may be obtuse and loud and crazy.
But he doesn't deserve to be attacked.
But he peacefully protested, and he was attacked with an IED, the same types of weapons used in Iraq and in Afghanistan here on our homeland are now being used by Islamic terrorists. So
they did say that sleeper cells would be activated in the United States, so I guess they making through with that promise.
Yeah, well, they actually intercepted a message from Iran the day after the Ayatollah was killed with a secret message that was activating their sleeper cells. So we can write these attacks off as random. We can write them off as, somebody's mad that Jake Lang is a pompous wild man. We can write them off as whatever we want, but they clearly started once the Ayatollah was killed, as we had said it would happen.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot go around killing the
leaders of
an entire religion and
our religion.
Expect it to go smooth.
This is not Maduro, Venezuela.
No. We killed the president of Iran. Okay, that's one thing. But killing the leader of their religion,
the supreme leader, they look up to him almost as a god.
So yeah, absolutely. So day 11, we got some deaths. We have massive losses of equipment. We have massive uses of equipment. This
sad.
Costly endeavor. Yeah,
I heard it's estimated that it's almost like $1 billion a day.
$3 billion per day.
Not $3
to $4 billion per day.
Wow.
$1 billion per day was the munitions used, I believe, at first. So that's not including the organization and implementation of getting the ships out to sea, to getting them into the strait, to moving resources, moving assets, manning assets and resources. All these things cost money.
That costs so much money.
The figures that we will get for the war will likely be very low because they're not going to want to give you the full amount that we're spending.
Right.
But you got to think there's people in the United States working daily right now, tens of thousands, to keep this war going in our country.
Yeah, in our country.
That's not including the soldiers and the generals and the it's not including any of that. The private contractors. So this is a big deal, guys. I don't know how it turns out, but I guess let's give some memories
some insight on it.
First, let's step into this.
Okay.
Sergeant Benjamin N. Pennington. He is the latest death. 26-year-old from Kentucky was injured during a missile attack on Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
So another soldier has been lost.
So sad.
People at the home have been lost. As the war continues to escalate, not just from Iran, but also moving into Lebanon, we have had another death, although it is not a United States citizen. We have Father Pierre Rahi of the Maronite Catholic Church has been killed in an Israeli attack.
Lebanon.
He actually decided to stay in Lebanon. The reason he decided to stay in Lebanon was because he felt this was an Israeli land grab, and that the Christians of that area, who have been Christians in the area for thousands of years, over 1,000 years, this is their homeland.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And he did not want to leave his homeland and risk Christians being driven out forever. That's why he decided not to leave Lebanon, and he was murdered for it. So.
Yeah, because the small hats don't mind killing Christians.
No, they don't mind killing Christians.
They kill anybody that gets in their way of power.
For them, this didn't matter.
No.
This was inconsequential death, as I believe that most deaths occurring in this are inconsequential.
Yeah, definitely inconsequential.
And on the epic day in October, they shot their own people as they were being taken out as enemy combatants and being taken as talking
about Israel.
Yeah,
you're talking about the Hannibal directive.
Yeah. They killed their own people because they were afraid they'd be taken captive.
Yeah, they do that. So yeah, they won't be taken captive.
Their concern for life is an all-time low. They are right on line with the rest of the Middle East.
Yeah, they are right on line.
Terribly sad. But let's moving on. Let's get into the why this war is occurring. Elvin, you have some stuff you brought for today.
Oh yeah, let me pull
Let's
some
get
stuff
into
up.
the why, what's happening here, what the possible reasons for the war is, and yeah, I mean, what are your reasonings here?
Well, first, guys, I want to start off with my theory on why I believe Trump thought that this would be an easy, quick mission where he could decapitate the leadership of Iran and essentially cause a revolt and the people take the country back, take over the country. Now, first, I want to show you guys a video. Do you remember January when they had the riots in Iran in January?
Yes, which would have been the opportunity to do this attack. But the reason we couldn't is because we had all of our assets in South America.
Yes, that's one reason.
So this was not planned at all. But we should have had if you wanted to make this happen, you should have been prepared and waiting for the right moment, not trying to create the right moment, because that just never works.
No, and it's another key factor of why this didn't work too. You'll see later when I discuss it. You're gonna be shocked. But first, I want to show you guys how the protests looked in January.
Escalate. We're also hearing reports of protesters confronting riot police who are firing back not only with tear gas, but also reportedly live fire. So as you can see, the leadership in Tehran is responding with an incredibly harsh crackdown. In fact, the supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, has vowed to crush what he calls anti-revolutionary elements, while hardline commanders are also pushing for zero tolerance. Still, the protest continues. People like students, workers, merchants, and ordinary families out on the streets, not just demanding relief from economic pain, but many are openly chanting against the leadership and the clerical establishment itself.
See, this would have been the prime opportunity to take them out.
Yes.
While there was actual motion.
Yeah.
Historically, we don't create motion.
No, we don't.
React to it. We can push it. We can accelerate it. We don't create the actual motion.
That's true.
We missed our opportunity.
But the latest really is this.
Yeah, definitely.
A large, sustained, and increasingly defiant movement that is confronting a leadership determined to hold on, even as that leadership's legitimacy is clearly under strain in ways we have not seen in years. Back to you.
It's legitimate.
Thank you.
They're legitimately in control.
Yeah, definitely. So as you guys can see, you can see all the fire, all the disruption that took place in Iran during that time in January. Now, the gist of this is we didn't create it, but Mossad created this. A lot of Americans don't know this.
Absolutely.
So the reason why Mossad created this is because we actually had a U.S. politician, the ex-CIA of the Trump administration from the first term, Mike Pompeo. He admitted this on a tweet that Mossad actually created this rising. So
I think most of us that are in the know, follow politics closely, probably had a pretty good idea.
Right. I'm gonna read.
But to have him outright say it to 10,000 people is...
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm gonna read you his tweet that he had when it was taking place. He said, "The Iranian regime is in trouble. Bringing the mercenaries is its last best hope. Riots in dozens of cities, and the Baji under siege, Mashhad, Tehran, Zidane. Next stop. What is it? Backlash. 46 years of this regime. POTUS. 47 coincidence. Happy New Year to every Iranian in the street. Almost every Mossad agent walking beside them. Now, the fact that he admitted that Mossad actually helped create this movement, this is a problem with Trump's analysts on this, because Trump, I believe, looked at this movement in January and saw that the citizens might revolt if he took out the leaders of Iran, and they might revolt fairly quickly. But what Trump missed and he didn't analyze, and his advisors didn't analyze, like Mike Pompeo stated, is this was not a natural occurrence. The people of Iran didn't naturally want to revolt in January. Mossad pushed them to the point and created an inorganic revolt within their country. So when Trump came around this time and thought that the same thing would happen naturally, he didn't get that same reaction. So as you can see, a revolt that we would see in Iran would be a revolt that's being propped up and pushed through intelligence agencies from either the U.S. or Mossad.
Well, I think one thing that makes that more clear is that the bulk, you saw the reports of people burning government buildings, outright in the streets with guns, and most of these occurrences were within the northern portion of Iran.
Yeah.
Now, if you know anything about Iran, which I know very little, but I'm learning. If you know anything about Iran, you know that the northern side is where the Kurds are. It's closer to the Kurds in Iraq, closer to the Kurds that's the Kurdish conglomerate.
They side with us more because they're a proxy group.
They are a proxy group and have been for many years. So when you saw these people burning government buildings and killing government officials, these were not protesters. These were Kurdish members, and they aren't fighting for us, and they aren't fighting against or for us. They're not fighting for Israel. What the Kurds are fighting for is a Kurdish state, and they want that state to be carved out of Syria, Iraq, and Iran. They essentially want something that is not going to happen. Those nations are not giving up their land, their territory.
Right, and probably what happened is Mossad agents went into that exact era that you're talking about and caused that short revolution with the Kurds. Yeah,
they paid them. Yeah, they said it's time to get active. Here's the money.
But the optics of it shifted the way Trump thought that he could get a revolution in their country, when in actuality that was not organic, that was fabricated.
And I would venture to say that anyone who is heavily involved in politics, would you say we're heavily involved in politics?
I would say by now, yeah.
So I guess anyone who was heavily involved and heavily informed in politics knew what was occurring as it was occurring. There was no doubt in our minds. We knew what was happening. How is the leader of the free world the only person that doesn't possess the intellectual capability to see this? How?
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
And the wool has been pulled over his eyes from 1,000 directions, and no light is getting in.
Yeah, no light. Well, he has. I would assume he probably has a whole bunch of people around him that gives him advice, but gives him advice in the wrong areas. So it kind of probably dilutes his thinking process.
This is second round 2 of Trump having the worst advisors possible, backstabbing him, turning their coat on him, having loyalty to other nations, other ideas, or global conglomerates, or even companies. So it's,
and I do think a lot of the advice also is coming from Mossad, because even within our agencies, even if his advisors did advise him wrong, there are reports of assessments where the Pentagon actually was advising against this.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw that they said that.
Remember, Alex Jones pulled that up.
Yes, they said that every single general advised Trump that this was not the thing to do.
Right.
It was going to create temporary instability in the region that would affect all of our allies, possibly damage those relationships, and that there was zero chance of winning.
Yeah,
that is what
zero.
Trump's generals informed him of. So who was in the other ear?
Small hats.
Israel.
Yes.
And if we think about it, Where have we gotten the information for every single war we have fought in the Middle East?
Same country.
Who has provided the intelligence every time?
Every time.
Israel.
Yeah.
And we're at it again, guys.
And we're at it again.
Losing young men and women in America.
So sad.
This is not.
Yeah, so sad.
I'm so angry.
Yeah,
I really am so pissed.
No, it's really sad. I do have to say. And the Pentagon even gave. You remember when Trump last week he said that. Well, first you have some mixed stories, but Trump last week said that Iran was going to attack first.
Yeah.
So that's why he had to attack.
That was a lie.
But the Pentagon actually did an assessment on that as well.
And said it was a lie.
And it said it was a lie.
So the Pentagon said, so everything you're hearing from your federal government right now is a lie. And I would like to just lay this on Republicans and beat them with a stick all day, beat the GOP down, beat Trump down. But the fact of the matter is that no matter who won the presidency, whether it was Kamala, whether it was Biden, or whether it was Trump, we are in this war.
Yeah, we're in it now.
The only difference is one group would leave behind soldiers, weapons, and civilians. And hopefully when Trump pulls out, he doesn't do that.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't do that. You know, it's crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy.
I guess also pertaining to the why, this is part of the Greater Israel program. They have an idea of where they want their country to move forward geographically. There are areas that they wish to conquer. They've been very open about this for 40, 50, 60 years. It's not, they don't hide it. They admit it.
Did you see the Mike Huckabee interview with He admitted it.
And you know, and this goes to show they've outwardly said that Turkey and the UAE are next. And as they have said that, they're trying to mobilize and have us mobilize Kurdish forces from Turkey to go to Iran. So once this happens and this whole extravaganza is over, what do the Kurds in Turkey go back home doing? Fighting Turkey, weakening Turkey for the invasion in the future from Israel.
Yeah, it'll never end. They always gonna pick a new country.
Always.
It'll never end.
Always.
Yeah, it's always
They're
been a new
animals.
country in the. Yeah,
They're
pretty
animals.
much.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. The whole region is full of animals. I don't care. I don't care. Call me anti-Semitic. I am. You know, I don't like the Jews in the area, and I don't like the Muslims in the area. All the Semites in that area are maniacs.
Yeah,
they're crazy.
Yeah, and we get drugged into it every time. Every time we get drugged into it.
So the why, we're obviously doing it for Israel's best interest.
Most definitely.
I guess
for that best reason.
I guess in the why, let's see here. See if I can pull up a little more.
Pull some on yours.
Got some why here. Lindsey Graham said, when the regime goes down, we're going to make a ton of money.
Of course, resorts, hotels.
You spend the money on the bombs, the implementing the troops, and all of these companies that produce these things get to make mega money, right? You and then what happens after you completely destroy the whole damn country? Well, you go back in and you rebuild it like we do everywhere. We went back in Iran and spent Iraq and spent hundreds of billions of dollars trying to rebuild what we had, what we destroyed. Yeah. We bombed the same bridge and rebuilt it 4 times in Iraq.
Wow.
So this is a it's a multifaceted problem. We have Israel directing us, and we have money-hungry war dogs running our country who benefit, and their friends benefit, and their lineage and family is going to benefit for generations.
Oh, yeah, they love war.
Oh, they love it. I
mean, shoot, when they put together the bill for blocking the War Powers Act, they came together so fast to block that. I didn't know Congress could vote that fast.
They wrote it and voted on it in 5 days.
I didn't know, man.
We still don't have a bill to build the wall.
They voted on that in 5 days, bipartisan, straight down the line.
I mean, so this is proof that it's not, there's so many strings and so many issues with why we don't get laws passed or don't get anything done in America. Because when we want to get it done.
When you want to get it done,
it benefits the right damn people, we get it done.
Yeah, they get it done.
Let's see what Marco Rubio had to say. I almost called him senator, but Marco Rubio had to say it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond and respond against the United States. The orders have been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic. So basically what that meant is if the Ayatollah was killed, he had already left instructions with field commanders, ballistic units, generals on what they should do. They already knew what to do.
Yeah, they had a line of succession already lined up.
And what Rubio meant by this was if Israel, and he clarified, if Israel decided to single-handedly attack on their own, we would have troops on bases, indefensible, not ready, and we would get attacked and have a larger loss of life than we already have. I'm not saying that he is wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong.
But at the same time, why is Israel attacking first?
Yes. So, and that also goes to show Israel had clearly told our leaders that they were going to do it with or without our consent.
Yeah, with or without our consent.
So that means that Israel had zero concern for the possible loss of life that would happen in the Middle East to United States soldiers.
Exactly.
They had zero concern. They were going to do it whether we were ready or whether we were not ready, whether we had evacuated or whether we had not evacuated. They were going to leave us high and dry. And this is our best ally in the Middle East.
And see, this could be avoided if we stop aligning with them as the best ally. We cut and sever ties with them.
They could be an ally.
Yeah, but a very distant one, in my opinion.
They can be an ally that we use as a proxy. They should be our proxy, but right now the tail is wagging the dog. The dog is not wagging the tail.
Yeah, they should be our proxy. The only thing that I would be afraid about with Israel being our proxy is Israel also is good at doing false flags,
which is on the way. We'll discuss that more later.
Yeah,
but
so that's the only thing I would be scared about them being our proxy, because they don't care about doing a false flag to kill an American soldier just to draw us into a war. That's the only scary thing to me when it comes to even partner with them at all.
But it's probably a similar concern with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia doesn't care about loss of American lives. They care about loss of American business, loss of American travel, loss of American investment. They probably don't care too much about the loss of an American soldier.
No, they don't care too much about loss of American soldier, but I don't think they would do a false flag attack to try to draw the United States into a war. That's the only thing.
No, because
only Israel likes doing stuff like that.
Because they have no reason.
They don't have a reason.
They have their boundaries, they have their borders, and they are happy with the nation they have.
Exactly. They don't have power hunger. They don't want to grow and expand like Israel.
There's no no initiative to do that for them currently that we've ever seen.
Yeah. And they also invest a lot into our economy as well.
Massive investment into our economy. They really have invested huge. A lot of these nations in that area have invested in us massively. And what has Israel done? Like a leech, they have sucked us dry.
They don't invest anything.
They don't invest in us, guys. They buy American bonds occasionally. And you want to know how they afford their American bonds?
Probably from our money.
They can afford American bonds because states like Florida and other states and local municipalities invest into low-paying Israeli bonds.
Jeez.
They pay shit, and they pay less than ours. They're a bad investment. They're not. We've gone over this before. But they do it when they receive our investments. They turn around and reinvest into our money to make money off of us. They use our money to invest to make money for themselves.
Jeez.
This is fact, guys. I'm not making.
Yeah, I remember you. We've
been over this. We've been over this.
That was a crazy finding when you had told me that.
All right. Well, we got the why.
That's a lot of why.
And guys, there are other reasons. We can come up. There are lots of reasons that they've told us. They said we have to make sure that we really got rid of the nukes. Well, they told us we got rid of the nukes last year. Last year's attack was an epic success. We damaged their nuclear facilities beyond repair. We damaged their ballistic missile facilities beyond repair. We're good. We're out. It was a lie. So now we're being told the reason. We gave you what we believe to be the real reason.
Right.
What we're being told is, we're here to get the uranium. We're here to destroy the nuclear facilities. We're here to overthrow the government. We're here to protect the citizens of Iran. Like we give a shit.
We don't care about
give a shit. Let's be honest here, guys. Let's just be honest. I care about the loss of each individual life, but does our government?
No.
If they don't care about their own soldiers dying, do you think they give a shit about some protesters in Iran?
No, they don't care about Iranian citizens dying. This is a bigger picture at play.
Much bigger. So those are some of the reasons they've given us, and I find them all to be nonsensical.
And when you hit on regime change, I am going to get into that too, because with regime change, we have to have boots on the ground. Blowing up and air fighting your way to a regime change is not going to work.
There are 200,000 Iranian guard officers.
Yeah, it's not going to work at all.
So every time you kill someone, someone else will step in. 200,000, we're going to kill 200,000 people with bombs. We've got them all, boys. It's time to go home. Yeah, right. It doesn't work that way.
Right. And then the tunnels and stuff they have too. You got to have scouts down there scouting where that stuff is at. I mean, it's a huge mess. A mess that we shouldn't have gotten into.
Well, you wanted to touch on the geography kind of the war, and
yes. First, before I touch on that, I wanted to play this little video because I wanted to touch more on the revolution that we thought that Iran would have. Now, I want to play this video here because they just elected a new leader. And as you know, guys, they threw a parade for the leader. So
massive celebration.
So as we're thinking that we're going to get a revolt, we're getting a parade.
We're seeing parades across Iran and all the major cities. We're seeing celebrations in Iraq. We're seeing celebrations in Afghanistan. We're seeing these rallies all across the Middle East for their supreme leader, because he was not the supreme leader of Iran. He was the supreme leader of Shia Muslims.
Right, Shia, right, exactly. Which is massive.
Massive. All across the Middle East. This is not the leader of Iran solely.
No. This video might not have audio. But you guys, they have subtitles so you guys can see. So they're saying God is great.
And, you know, the new appointee, the son of...
they say he's even worse.
He's far worse. But what do you expect to happen? You cannot kill you killed the boy's dad. Well, not the boy. He's a grown-ass man. But you killed his dad.
Yeah.
And you think he's going to be more receptive to the United States? Do you think any of these people are going to be more receptive of the United States? Or is this a constant situation that we see where we're killing Muslims and their kids are hating us more?
Mm-hmm. And as you brought up with the son being more radical, I even saw an article earlier today that the son pretty much was so radical, they actually intercepted some documents that said that even the previous Ayatollah didn't even want his son to take over.
Because he was too crazy.
So we eliminated someone we thought was crazy for even crazier person.
And, you know, Trump is trying to big dick. Oh, we're not, you know, if we don't approve, if I don't personally approve the next leader, we'll take him out too. So, what you're saying is we're colonializing Iran. That's
pretty
what
much,
you're saying, is that we want full colonialization control over Iran, which is impossible.
Impossible. It's a reason why Persia, it used to be called Persia, has never been conquered.
It's never been conquered. And that's
what we're going to get tonight with that geography.
Well, location. I got something wild for you. You know, the last time the temple was being rebuilt in Jerusalem, upon the stone. Yes. I can't remember the name. Who was it? Oh, my history is failing me, guys. My history is failing. My names and historical names are failing me. Regardless, when the temple was being rebuilt the last time, at the same time, the leader who was rebuilding the temple went to war with Iran. And as we know by reading our Bible, as they attempted to rebuild the temple, literally fire. And this isn't just reported from the Bible. This is reported from many people and written narratives across the area. Fireballs came out of the stones, burning those who tried to build the second temple. Wow. An earthquake happened, while they were building it, shattering it, which is verified through geological surveys. So we know all this happened. And at the same time, as he's trying to rebuild the temple, which right now Israel has plans to rebuild the temple,
Yeah, they rebuild a tiller, bring back the red heifer, and
Yeah, so they are planning to rebuild the temple. Last time they tried to rebuild the temple, they went to war with Iran and their leader was killed.
Oh, wow.
That was the last time the temple was attempted to be built. God is not having it.
Wow, I never thought about that.
That's the last time.
Wow.
So now we have an exact 1,600 years later, we're looking at the same scenario. They're pushing for the rebuilding of the temple, which means they are going to have to get rid of the mosque, the Golden Dome, which
the Golden
currently
Dome
sits on the cornerstone. So they have to get rid of that. So how do you get rid of that? You kill all the Muslims and disrupt all the Muslim nations who can retaliate against you in the region.
Okay, that's another why too.
Another why.
That's a good one. I never thought about that.
Yep, and it's going to fail. God's not going to let it happen. Didn't let it happen. It's going to happen on His time, not their time.
Right. Because doesn't the red heifer bring back the person that they think their Messiah is? Or
Yes,
something
who
like
is
that?
going to be the Antichrist?
Yeah, something.
Who Christians believe will be the Antichrist.
But Jews think that's their savior.
Correct.
Right.
And the Holy Bible explicitly declares that they will believe it is their savior. They will believe it is their king, and it will be the Antichrist, and it will bring about the destruction of the world. So let's hope.
I've heard that
Let's
before.
hope God's not ready, and this third attempt at the temple fails.
I see. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Wow. Okay, guys. So this next time, I want to get into the geographical location of Iran. Like we touched on earlier, Iran has been very hard to conquer over the years. It used to be called Persia. And the reason why it's hard to conquer is because it's pretty much called, the nickname of it's called a mountain fortress. So they pretty much have mountains all around their cities. So whenever a invading army tries to invade Iran, even if the Iran army doesn't stand as much in strength-wise to that army, they always have upper ground advantage, tunnels in the mountains advantage, where the invading army comes up, and then they just shoot them to death from up high. And we had this problem in the U.S. with the Vietnam War, where the Vietnamese had that upper ground.
Well, this is historically
soldiers.
Just repeating. You can go back to the Civil War. Where was the steadfast stronghold of the Confederacy during the Civil War? Was the ship where I'm from, the Shenandoah Valley, Virginia, surrounded by mountains on all sides.
Yeah, and that helped right there.
That helped
right there.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty much a blockade when you have mountains surrounding a region. So boots on the ground in Iran, I mean, even if the United States will pull off a win, the death and the destruction that would come with boots on the ground in Iran would just be devastating.
You think we could win that?
I mean, I never doubt the United States when it comes to winning.
We didn't win Afghanistan.
But-
We didn't win Iraq. We didn't win Vietnam. And one could argue that we did not win Korea.
Yeah, you can't argue that. And then also, I didn't know, I had learned something. I was watching a podcaster, and he was giving a brief history lesson on World War II when they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. I didn't know that the Japanese actually pulled back, not because the atomic bomb was dropped, but because the Soviet Union was coming, and the Soviet Union wouldn't allow them to surrender. So actually, it happened at the same time. So it looked like the atomic bomb ended the war, but it actually was the Soviet Union encroaching on them that they were scared of more.
And they were going to kill them.
Yeah, because the Soviet Union didn't have no...
Torture them, torture them, kill them, make them slaves.
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't want that, so that's why they backed off.
And that's funny because if you're deeply embedded in the Civil War, know a lot about it. You or not the Civil War, sorry, World War II. You also know that we really weren't. The United States really was not the reason for the downfall of Germany either. It was the millions of Russian troops that died. That's what pushed it. Without the Russians, we didn't win that war.
Yeah, that's pretty much what this podcast was saying.
Yep. Yeah. We didn't win the war. We didn't win the war on either front.
Yeah.
No, they were, and we were not willing to let millions die.
Right, exactly.
They were about it.
But they only get a victory us because we dropped the first atomic bomb.
Yeah, and because we write history.
Yeah, and we
go look at a Russian history book, and you will find that Russia ended the World War II.
That's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true.
Propaganda, national propaganda.
Yeah, definitely.
Iran isn't just desert. Geographically, it's a massive fortress surrounded by high mountains. They also control one of the world's most critical energy choke points, the Strait of Hormuz, where about 20% of global oil passes every day. From snowy peaks to burning deserts, Iran's geography is why this land has been hard to conquer for thousands of years. Iran, the mountain fortress. Iran isn't just desert.
So, guys, I want you to see that because, like me and John were saying earlier, over the years, Iran used to be called Persia. It has been very hard for any army to conquer for that very fact that it's pretty much a mountainous fortress and it has pretty much protection all around their cities. And also today, with the modern army that they have, the Iranian army comprises of between 700,000 to 1 million soldiers.
Yeah.
So not only do we have a tough terrain to fight if we send boots on the ground, but we have a more formidable army with almost 1 million soldiers.
One of the 5 largest armies in the world.
Yeah, yesterday I looked at their ranking. They're actually 17th out of the world army ranking, so they're top 20.
Oh, top 20. But,
they're in the
but
top
actual enlistment, I think they're top 5.
Yeah, enlistment. I was talking about in power.
Oh, in power.
In power, they're top 20 army in the world, which is...
We're essentially fighting a superpower.
Yeah, we're essentially fighting a superpower, pretty much. A superpower that just doesn't have nuclear weapons yet. So I believe that boots on the ground would just be, even if the United States could pull off a win, would just be a lot of destruction, a lot of death, because of the power of the military, the size of the military, the geographical terrain they're on. And you guys got to remember, we struggled with Afghanistan, and Afghanistan at most only had about 45,000 fighters to go against us, which is not even close to 1 million fighters. And that was the same terrain, very mountainous in Afghanistan as well. And we struggled with that. So
I think this mimics Iraq heavily as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Same terrain. Iraq had a larger army than Afghanistan, but
Yeah, definitely.
But Iran is 4 times, I believe 3 to 4 times the size of Iraq.
Yeah,
so
huge.
Same type of terrain, 10,000 times larger military, and 4 times the size geographically.
Right. How is that going to work out?
We didn't win the last one. I mean, maybe they're going for tactical insertions of boots on the ground. Maybe we're not trying to take over all of Iran. But if we don't take it all over, it's a wasted endeavor.
And the problem is we have to kind of take it all over for a regime change.
Absolutely.
And not only, people also forget, when you do a regime change, you just can't change the regime. You have to remain there to make sure it doesn't get taken back over.
And yeah, absolutely. And he's talked about President Trump has talked about securing the strait. We're going to secure the strait, escort ships through to keep it's not just oil either, guys. It's copper. Mm-hmm. It's all these other natural resources that are coming out of their area. And so in order to let shipments come through and secure the strait, to really efficiently secure it, we need boots on the ground. Mm-hmm. On both sides of the strait. You can't secure if you can walk up to the edge of the strait and fire an RPG at a ship,
right? Exactly.
Doesn't do a lot of good. Now,
right.
On the alternate, you think we put troops on the ground there, right? On next to the strait, and now we have a 1 million man army on one side of us,
right?
Water to our back, and our troops in between. It's a logistical nightmare. You won't read an attack on any country in the world from any sophisticated invasionary force in history that has operated in such a miserable circumstance.
Right, and it's funny you bring that up because he wanted the Kurds to do it, but it seems like the Kurds are scared to do it because they know it's a nightmare.
They're going to get slaughtered.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw him. He came out like a few days ago, and I know this was a lie. He was like, well, the Kurds are not going to do it because I don't want them to die. It's when you don't care if Kurds die. No, they probably called you up on the phone and said, we're not doing it.
Did we care about Kurds dying as they were? So, Erbil, Iraq, that's a heavily Kurdish area. Yeah. I have a friend who lives there. He did live there. He no longer lives there. But This is the Kurdish area, and we utilize those Kurds while fighting ISIS. We did not, and the friend of mine, he was a friend of mine from America. He got deported due to a DUI, went back to his home country of Iraq, and became a special forces and essentially a hitman against ISIS. He was collecting heads and bringing them to the United States government for money. Wow. But he is Kurdish. They did not care about these people. They sent them money. Sent them equipment, gave them some training, some shitty training. And, he actually ended up training a lot of the people himself in their special forces. But they gave him training, gave him money, gave him assets. Have at it. We don't care after that. If they lose, it wasn't us. No. If they win, it's a win for us.
Right.
It's win-win. It's win-win because at the end of the day, we're eliminating the Kurds who are going to create massive issues in the area anyway.
Right. And that's how I know they probably called him up on the phone and was like, no, we're not doing this.
Absolutely not. No shot.
No shot. Y'all can do it if you want to.
Yeah. What are you going to do for us before we get in there?
Right.
How long until you get there to support us? How long? These were all the questions they were asking. And just as American citizens want answers, they wanted answers. And just like American citizens, they probably had received no answers. Yeah,
I probably didn't receive anything because with a lot of this war, there aren't any answers right now. They just playing it off the wind and making it up as they go.
Well, I trust Trump. And I trust the GOP. I know they got a plan, and I know what is wrong with you people. Like, listen, I support Trump because I support my president. I think his first term was great. Could have been a lot better. Was great. This one has been an absolute disaster. But I will support him when the support is earned.
Needed. Yeah, earned, needed. Mm-hmm. And I'll give him praise when he has his wins. He's had some wins in this term, but I'm not afraid to criticize him when he has his losses and doing something that he has no business to be doing.
I mean, the wins mean nothing.
Yeah.
If Americans are paying $4,000 more a year for fuel prices.
Yeah, that takes a lot of the economic wins away. That's true.
It means nothing.
Yeah, that's true. That erases a lot of that. And I'm glad you got into the economics and you brought up the Strait of Hormuz earlier, because that actually was one of my next topics, the Strait of Hormuz. So like you say, a lot of oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz. 80% of it goes to Asia, 20% of it goes to Europe, but it doesn't matter when it pertains to America because everything is globalized now and everything is a part of the same system. So when there's one cog in the wheel, everything kind of domino affects that. So
hence why our oil prices are up.
Exactly.
It dropping back to $80 today is insignificant, and I will tell you why. It dropped back to $80 because at the beginning of the day yesterday, Trump announced that we'd won the war. Which we know was a lie.
What I'm about to bring up.
Is it? We know it's a lie.
He's trying to manipulate it to go down.
Market manipulation.
Yeah, market manipulation. Because the oil industry is based off of threats.
And my other question is, how many insiders that are friends with the Trump family are capitalizing on trading, knowing what he's going to say the day he says it?
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah, they're capitalizing.
They definitely capitalize.
Barron Trump made a massive oil investment the other day.
Oh, wow.
Right before we went to war. I bet he sold it already.
He probably did. Because even if Trump says, the war is over, clearly we can see that there's a lot to be done with this war. And when the markets see that it's continuing, it's going to fly back up anyways. So he's going to have to do that every week.
Every week.
How many
times is that going to work?
Right.
Probably forever, because Americans are a bunch of idiots. Oh, gosh, we're so stupid. We fall for anything.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So with the Strait of Hormuz, I wanted to show you guys the Strait of Hormuz because, for my opinion, the Iranians are playing an asymmetrical war. So when I say they're playing an asymmetrical war, what I mean is they're not fighting a conventional war like U.S. and Israel is fighting. The U.S. and Israel, they're dropping bombs, they're destroying infrastructure, destroying facilities, American media glorifying all the bombs that they're dropping, destroying the facilities. But what the U.S. and Israel is missing out on, and what American media won't tell you guys, is the asymmetrical war that Iran is fighting. Is they're not fighting a war for who can bomb the most. they're fighting a economic war.
Yes.
So they're taking it to us economically, which no media outlet is reporting on. They're not reporting on the massive spikes in oil. They're not reporting on all the things that depend on oil, petroleum products, plastics. I mean, when you transfer goods to and from the factory, that's going to go up because they have to pay more for oil. I mean,
Food prices are going up. Electronic prices. The prices of your tires are going to skyrocket.
Tires
because
are going to
the petroleum
skyrocket.
used in the rubber.
Exactly. And that's the thing that the U.S. and Israel is not really focusing on, is like, you might be winning bombing them, but they're winning economically and really taking it to us. And also, they're taking it to us economically with our great investors in the Gulf states.
And what people don't realize too is this isn't just this, like you said, this isn't just economically facing one person. It's not just Asia. It's not just Europe. It's not just the United States.
Yeah.
This is going to create an economic recession globally.
Yeah, globally.
This has the ability to crash global markets. And maybe it will happen. Maybe it won't. Maybe we pump money into the market. Maybe we dance this fine line where it doesn't.
Yeah.
But everyone is hurting right now.
Yeah, everybody's hurting. Yeah.
I'm paying just to fill the tank up on my truck. I am already paying $40 more to fill up my truck tank every week.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't include the car that my wife drives. That doesn't include the fuel that we use for work. That doesn't include any of these things.
And did you see the barrel oil the other day was $120 per barrel? Now I know it dropped down a little bit because of that speech, like you say, Trump said. Because as of March 10th, 2026, it's trading around 80 to 90, which is still higher than the average that it's usually at. But of course, that's going to go right back up to over 100 once they see the wars continuing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You spoke on how it affects our partners and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get into. Yeah, the partners' highs.
Go at it.
You want to say something?
Well, as you said, this is a economic war they're fighting, and they're winning.
Yeah,
they are winning the economic war.
Oh yeah, because Iran has. You gotta think Iran has nothing to lose.
No,
they're fighting. I mean, arguably, the United States and Israel teaming up is one of the probably most powerful team ups you can get when it comes to military coming at you.
Yeah.
So Iran has nothing to lose when they're going to try everything in their arsenal to try to win this war. And they'll bring down the rest of the world economy with them just to try,
absolutely.
just to try to win the war.
And winning the war for them does not look like winning the war for us. Winning the war for us is we have our leaders installed to Iran. We have major influence. We have major power there. Things calm down. Winning the war for them is that it drags out for 10 years.
Yeah.
That it drags out for 15 years. That it drags out for 20 years. And they sever all of the super close ties we have between nations such as UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain. All these places are getting bombed because of us. And it's hurting our relationship with them heavily. So what their ultimate goal is to push this as long as it takes to sever our ties with these places in the region where we no longer have military bases there.
Yeah. Now, and you think those regions going to let you rebuild there after what happened to them?
No, they're not.
Absolutely not.
And if you think about it, Qatar paid tens of billions of dollars to build our military bases there.
Yeah.
They paid to build our military bases. Did Israel pay to build any of our military bases in the Middle East, which protect strictly them? Because they're the ones getting most of the protection.
And that's another problem. Israel's getting most of the protection. And so Qatar and other Gulf states are looking at this like, we invest more than Israel, but you're protecting them over us?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, they're all running short of interceptors.
Right.
But we're taking interceptors from the Ukraine and from our own personal stockpiles to refill theirs. We're not taking them from those places to refill the UAE, to refill Saudi Arabia, any of these places. We're doing it for one person. Iran is going to win because they're going to sever our alliances and they're going to cause economic damage globally.
Yeah.
And the only way we win is boots on the ground.
And don't think for a second, Israel, with the intelligence agency they might have one of the best intelligence agencies in the world, that they didn't know that those Gulf states would get hit if they hit Iran, because Iran said, if you hit us, we're going to hit the Gulf states with the bases on them too.
Which is part of the Israeli plan. The Israeli plan also, just like Iran, and they have one common one commonality, and the commonality between Israel and Iran is that they both want us the fuck out of the Middle East. Why? Yeah. Okay, Iran wants us out because if we get rid of all those military bases, they can now rebuild. They have free reign of their country. They don't have as much threat. For us to attack them would be much harder. Why would Israel want us out? Well, if Israel can get us removed from every one of those Muslim nations, they no longer have us as an ally. Now that opens the door for Israel to attack them as well. It opens the door for them to have their land grab. And they've been very clear about this, guys. This isn't me just telling you what I think. This is what Israel is saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do say that. They want that. They want all that land.
They want us gone. Mm-hmm. They both want us gone. That is
and this is a good strategy.
And if they're fighting each other and they have something in common, a belief in common, well, one thing for sure is going to come out of the situation. The thing they have in common.
Yeah. Yeah. And shoot, I say let's get out of there, in my opinion.
Bomb them as needed with intercontinental ballistic missiles as needed from here.
We got over 100 bases in the world. We can lose a few.
Yes. And my tax dollars would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Jeez, I just did my taxes. My tax dollars would appreciate it.
Yeah, because that's what they put the taxes towards, the more military bases. But yeah, guys, I mean, and also I wanted to bring up for you guys that not only are they attacking Qatar, like hotels, different things of that nature, military bases, but they also struck a gas liquefaction facility in Qatar as well, which Qatar says it's going to possibly take months to get that back up and running. So that's going to be a big hole in the oil industry as well, with factories going down in places like Qatar, Saudi Arabia. So it's just...
They've been attacking their salinization plants too, where they desalinize water. So they take, they take salt water, they desalinize it, remove the salt, and then it's drinkable, potable water for that gets pumped into the cities. For the drinking water and such.
So it won't be contaminated.
They're attacking those too, so that way they don't have a way to refine salt water into fresh water.
Oh, wow. That's going to really ruin their tourism industry, because they're heavily...
Well, their tourism industry is dead right now.
It's completely.
And they rely on that
heavily, the most, yeah.
Heavily. These are not warring nations, guys.
No, they're not.
Saudi Arabia, UAE. No. Think about Dubai. These are the safest, lowest crime rate, least warring nations in the entire world. Mm-hmm. This isn't my opinion. This is fact. These nations are peaceful. They want to have peace because that makes them money.
I actually had a friend that his friend went to Dubai, and she left her pocketbook in the mall in Dubai, and so the people in the mall was like, "Oh yeah, this." When she left the mall and she started panicking, and then people were like, "Oh yeah, just go get it. The next day it'll still be there." She went back the next day. The pocketbook was in the same place,
with everything
untouched, with everything. And I was like, "What? Can you imagine doing that in the mall in America?"
And that's what happens when you're tough on crime. That's what happens when you cut somebody's hand off for stealing instead of letting them back out the next day to do their ghetto bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing I had to say. They got that on lock.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I beautiful. Love it. I love it.
I know it's like, oh, we're so harshly punishing those who commit crime. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares if a person who wants to take advantage of you and molest you has to deal with a bad time? Why do you care? That's your enemy.
Yeah,
criminals are your enemy.
Yeah, definitely the enemy. Yeah, I don't know why anybody would care about that. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I just thought that's just interesting how the pocketbook was like actually still there. That's really it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
so crazy. Cool. Wow.
I watched a video on YouTube of something similar. The guy left like a $20,000 watch, a Rolex, laying.
Wow,
and left for a couple hours and came back, and his $20K Rolex was still sitting there.
Wow, that's beautiful.
I know. It might be time to get the hell out of here.
And they don't have taxes.
Yeah.
Man.
Off the Axis podcast, brought to you from Dubai. If we ever make real money on this, we might have to move there so our government doesn't steal it all.
They gonna think we on their payroll, like Tucker Carlson. They Tucker Carlson on their
Carlson. Like, let me just dive into that for a minute. because this really annoys me. So it is the most widespread shit on the internet right now. Tucker Carlson, Al Jazeera Fuentes. This is it. Do people not realize how low hanging that fruit is? Like,
Yeah.
these arguments and these little caricatures that they're making up. These are liberal tactics. These are liberal tactics, name calling and making up dumb shit and with zero evidence.
Yeah, it is.
Like, listen, if you bring me evidence, not this circle, well, he bought a house and he you bring me real evidence and I will believe it. Yeah. I'm not opposed to believing things, guys, but I'm a fact-based individual.
Right.
I'm autistic and I need to see the facts.
Right.
And if I don't see the facts, I'm not going to believe you.
Right.
So when you bring me these, like I said, low-hanging fruit arguments, these, I mean, intellectually devoid arguments, they're completely intellectually empty.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be mean because some of my friends say these things, but guys, you're really making your intellectual capacity look weak when you bring forth such arguments. You really are. And I'm not trying to be mean. It's a liberal tactic and it's a low IQ tactic that libs use. And you know, I don't know what else to say about it, but that you're not helping your cause. You're not convincing anyone of anything. And it's just not, you're not, some of you that I know that say it are really intelligent, like really intelligent. Like, I really believe in your intelligence. And then to see you guys, some of you say those things, makes me know that you're either taking the easy road or you're out of arguments.
Yeah. They're not.
You might be out of arguments.
Definitely out of arguments because neither.
That's what you do when you name call. You're out of arguments. You're out of defense.
Yeah. In my opinion, neither one of them are on.
You have to go for low blows because you have no more real ammunition left. And, you know,
because Tucker Carlson, he's been dropping some great interviews lately.
Really great interviews. And there's plenty to attack him on. There's plenty to attack Nick Fuentes on. Why not stick to the facts? Because when you go for this low-hanging fruit, you ruin your entire credibility.
You ruin your entire credibility.
You really do.
That's very true. Yeah.
Anyway, I had to get into that for a second because, man, I have about 6 or 7 friends on Facebook, Instagram, that are always saying these things, and every time I'm just like, man, come on, dude, I know you. You're smarter than that. Like, come on, you're an intellectually capable individual. You can formulate an argument against an individual that you don't like based on facts, not fiction. I believe in you guys more than that. I wouldn't be friends with you if you weren't smart enough to do it.
Right. Exactly. Man,
anyway,
that's crazy.
Anyway, that's what I got on that. That's all the tea I got on that.
That's all the tea.
What else we got here?
So I want to continue on with this kind of ties back into I would say the terrain of Iran and why it's also difficult to fight them militarily. Now, as you may know, over the past months, especially last year, the U.S. has been very strong on their ballistic missile program. Because it first started out as their nuclear program. And then when they saw that they were hitting Israel with all those nukes, well, not nukes, but all those ballistic missiles last year, they kind of put their focus on their ballistic missile program too. Now, some of you might not know this.
But I thought the ballistic missile program was destroyed last year.
Well, yeah, we thought. But I'm gonna show you a video on why it's so hard to even really locate all these vast tunnels. And I mean, it's vast, guys. I mean, it's tunnels everywhere.
Thousands of miles.
It's bunkers everywhere. Hundreds, thousands of missiles are in these bunkers. And Iran has the capability of making very cheap missiles at a very cheap price, and they can make 100 to 200 a month. And that's what they really.
No, far more than that.
Oh, really?
Well, if you include drones as well, because they're.
Oh, I was just talking. Okay, the drones. Yeah,
they are producing thousands.
Yeah, the drones that make it
thousands
even more.
And even a drone requires
not much
multiple defensive missiles to knock it down.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was gonna I'll get into after this video. But this video shows you their stockpile and how it's lined up all across their country and how vast it is. So I want to show you guys this. I mean, look how vast and massive it is.
They've been working on developing these things, guys,
For years.
For decades. They have had 40 years to prepare this. They've been doing it the entire time. All across the nation, not just in areas we know. We haven't been monitoring them with highly sophisticated, recording devices and satellite imagery for a long time. That's only occurred in the last 20, 30 years.
Exactly.
They've been doing this for 40 plus years. They've been preparing.
Yeah, definitely preparing. And the reason why they're doing this is because the United States has always had a superior Air Force. That's one of our best things we have is Air Force. So that they came up with this because they know that this is the best defense against a superior Air Force, to have something deep underground. I mean, it's everywhere. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to show you that, and I wanted that because I wanted to put that in perspective for you guys, that a war like this cannot end in just a couple of days or a couple of weeks with infrastructure this massive, with bunkers and tunnels this long and vast across the country. This is going to take months to find all those tunnels and bunkers to destroy all this. Maybe even years.
Well, how many years were we into the Iraq war when we pulled Saddam Hussein out of a fucking hole? How many years were we into it?
I forgot, but it was quite a few years.
It was quite a few years, guys, before we pulled him out. And
it was quite a few years.
And their development was less extensive.
Oh yeah, way less extensive.
By many degrees.
Yeah, by many degrees. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, guys, I just want to show you guys that, and just to put perspective on, how the outlook of this war could be very drawn out and long.
Yeah, it's what they're saying. Well, now we've heard too. Now they're changing their stance to this may be a 100-day war.
Yeah, because first they saw a couple days.
First it was 4 days.
Yeah.
Trump said in 4 days we would have them wiped out. 4 days we were promised.
Oh wow.
Now we're being told 100.
Wow.
So if in the first 2 weeks we lost 8 military people and we have 5 terrorist attacks, what's going to happen in the next 100 days?
Yeah,
what's going to happen in the next 5 years?
That's true. That's definitely true. And that, you bring me to my point when it comes to you had brought up earlier about how they can make thousands of missiles a month, and because they're cheaply made. But I think you have some facts on this as well. The Iron Dome, David Sling, Arrow, even Marco Rubio. Even Marco Rubio said that the cost of the interceptors that the U.S. and Israel uses is so expensive they can't really make a lot per month. So the cost for just the David Sling alone is $1 million per missile. The Arrow is $2 to $3.5 million per missile. So to intercept missiles that are just 20-30 grand a pop for Iran, it takes $1 million to $3.5 million to do it per missile.
And also we have a 20% interception rate. So that means we're firing five interceptors per missile.
Right.
So
I think Iran also, just not an economic war, I think they're playing a war of attrition, because they're betting and hoping on, well, if it costs $1 to $3.5 million to make these missiles, and you guys can't make hundreds of them a month, but we can make hundreds of cheap missiles a month, you guys are gonna run out before us. So this is a waiting game here.
And when it comes to war of attrition too, you said war of attrition, like we said earlier. In a war, if it's a war of attrition for us, that means we have to kill anybody who can become the potential next leader. And we're not killing 100 to 200,000 Iranian regime leaders.
Members. Oh, no, not
Iranian Guard members. We're not doing it.
No, not at all. Mm-mm. And what fact did you have on that? 'Cause I think you told me you had a fact on that.
Yeah, so I got some interceptor data. We are running short on interceptors. We've known that for over a year. When we had to help Israel after the last big bombing and they had a massive retaliation from Iran, that exhausted us. But let me get into some of the data. U.S. faces critical shortage of advanced interceptors due to high usage in conflicts. With Patriot systems estimated at only 25% of our nation's requirements.
Yeah.
So let's see. While production is increasing, current usage during intense engagements can exceed over 150 of those in just 12 days, far outpacing production. So the inventory remaining. As of late 2025, we had declared that we had 414 in total interceptors in our inventory.
Jeez.
That's nothing. That's nothing.
That's nothing at all.
The production rate of the THAADs, the THAADs, they plan on increasing it to 400 a year. But right now, we can only produce 6 to 7 specialized THAAD interceptors per month. So we're only producing 84 a year.
Oh, that's terrible.
84 a year. They want to increase to 400, but we're at 84 a year. The usage rate. Currently, has fired up to 25% of our best interceptors in the first 12 days. During recent conflicts, such as the last big conflict, we used 80 in a single month.
Yeah,
So 80 in a single month, and we're producing 7 a month.
oh my goodness.
Production capacity, THAADs, they're attempting to increase it to 96 to 400 per year. Well, we're at 84 now, so if they increase it to 96, that's no big deal. But also, how are you going to increase that without more factories? This is going to take time, guys. You don't just say, we're going to produce 10 times more now.
Yeah, because a lot of the modern presidents, like Obama, they gutted the military.
They gutted it. So we don't have the factories to produce these missiles. We don't have the resources. We don't have the manpower. We don't even have the human capacity of the knowledge of implementing these systems to build it. All the people who are building them are building them. Mm-hmm. So now you have to retrain these people, build it's just not gonna happen. The Patriot missile production, they want to ramp up to 2,000 per year. Again, this takes massive increases in production, resulting in factories, transportation, all these different things. Money, resources. And Tomahawk missiles, we're only producing 90 to 100 per year.
Wow.
That's it. That is it.
Dang.
I mean, at the rate we're using them, we'll be out by the end of the year.
Yeah, we don't even have the capability of even fighting a full-scale war right now.
Which brings me to the fact that, we've had to transfer from our stockpiles, our personal stockpiles for our nation here to protect us here. We've had to transfer our stockpiles to Israel.
Yeah, so they can be protected.
Yeah.
But then if something happened here, we're not going to have that for here.
Which I might as well just touch on this while we're here.
Jeez.
Secretary Rubio invoked emergency authority to expedite the sale waiving congressional review under the Arms Export Control Act. This bypasses the usual congressional notification and review process. He has implemented the sale of 20,000 munitions worth $650 million. Well, my question is, he's selling them 20,000 munitions for $650 million. Does Israel have $650 million for that, or is this something that we're eating? Is this a loan?
There's no way they have $650 million for it.
They don't have it. They don't have it. That's why we're supporting and holding them up now. The package is actually valued at, $660 million, includes more than 20,000 bombs, between 20 and 27,000 bombs. It includes 12,000 BLU 110 1,000 pound bombs. They are not just preparing for the war in Iran. Guys, these transfers of munitions are indicative of a war which we know is about to spread. These numbers are not in line with a war with Iran.
No, because like you said earlier, they're talking about Turkey being the new Iran. They're talking about other...
They're acquiring munitions for further escalation in the region. On top of the $4 billion already fast-tracked and $12 billion total since Trump took office, this is added.
Jeez.
So there you have it, guys. I mean, Yeah, there you have it. I mean, it's this is costing everyone, and we're transferring all of our own personal ordinances to Israel to help them. And what happens if we get attacked, guys? Or are they going to Are they going to give us some back? We're even pulling interceptors out of Ukraine to give to Israel.
Wow, that is crazy. Wow.
I guess moving on. I guess,
And now it seems like we're pleading Putin to help us out, because since the Strait of Hormuz is essentially closed down, all the oil sanctions on Russia need to be lifted so we can get some oil.
well, Trump. I think it was either today or yesterday. Trump came out and said, "Oh, we're now ships are beginning to move through the strait. A few ships here and there, and we want to let you know we're going to make this safe for our allies in China and Russia. We're trying to make sure that everybody's okay and has their energy needs. So is this about So a lot of people were like, "This is crippling China. We're doing this to cripple China." And now your president, who you support to the very end, no matter what he says, has announced that he's actually making sure that oil can transfer through the strait for China. but you were convinced we're getting China.
And best believe Iran will let China go through, but they will not let that go through for Europe.
No,
absolutely not.
And the other thing is, this whole affecting China thing. Oh, I
don't believe that.
We got rid of their oil from Venezuela.
Yeah,
we're getting rid of their oil from Iran. We're really going to get them. And they were only getting like 12% of their oil from those two nations. Mm-hmm. They knew both of these things were going to occur. They've been preparing for it for a year, 2 years, 3 years. They knew it was going to happen. They've already renegotiated contracts with all of these European and Asian countries. They've already renegotiated contracts with Russia. They've already filled the gap in oil loss. Mm-hmm. We're not doing the damage to China that you guys are coming up with in your head.
Yeah, because China and Russia are very close now. And we are the cause of that too. Because when we sanctioned Russia, it drove them to China.
Absolutely. So, we're killing China's energy sector. No, we're not. Are you guys... Oh, people, they make me so angry. Like, how can you be so stupid to think that a place that studies us, they study us with all of the most advanced AI, psychiatrists. They're looking at every way Trump twists his finger to get a complete understanding of how he thinks, operates, and to predict his next move. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They know do you think they didn't know this was going to happen? Mm-hmm. Come on.
Shoot,
Stop having such a small world mind. Like, I don't know how I teach that. And I'm not saying that all of you are like that. I'm not saying that all of anybody is like that. I just see it across the internet so much. Such a small world mindset. Once again, low-hanging fruit.
China can definitely find other ways to get the oil.
They're going to be fine. And they've already transferred a large portion of their energy has already been transferred to nuclear. Mm-hmm. Wind, solar, they're massively moving.
Oh, okay. I know what I was about to say. How China is not worried about the war between Iran, US, and Israel is because they actually are helping Iran with some equipment. So they're not worried about no conflict going on. They're actually trying to help Iran win.
At Russia and China. China has a ship, one of the most highly advanced monitoring systems in the world, parked right there right now, letting them know everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, the ship that's parked there is one of the best surveillance ships in the world.
Wow.
And it's just passing all the information directly on to them.
Wow. Yeah, and people are just too dumb to see it.
I saw the other day that somebody was like, it was a report that came out from the government, obviously leaked report, that they were Iran was in negotiations with North Korea to receive a nuclear weapon. And at first I was like, wow, this is crazy. They intercepted this little bit of intelligence, and now they're trying to shut down these, lanes of them shipping things to Iran, etc. And then I stopped and took a step back and said, wait a minute. Does this even sound plausible?
Not really.
North Korea just giving away nuclear weapons?
Yeah,
not happening, guys.
No,
it's not happening. This is another bullet point that was leaked to us to convince us to continue to stay in this war.
Yeah. And that's going to happen a lot across this war. A lot of false flags
Yep.
are going to happen.
You have anything else pertaining to how Iran's fighting this battle?
How Iran's fighting the battle? Not really, other than the asymmetrical war and fighting it from an economic standpoint and fighting it from a war of attrition aspect. I really don't have anything else that I think they're gearing towards. Do you have something else?
Yeah, I kind of have. I'm not going to state that this is a fact, but this is kind of something that I was thinking about. We know now that China and North Korea both have advisors throughout Iran.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
They're planted in there firmly right now. So why did they move advisors there? Why are they moving all of these people there? Well, I have a theory. I may be wrong, maybe right. Who knows? But my theory is that they are there to begin testing weapon systems. This is a new type of battleground. This isn't just like Ukraine and Russia. This is a new place for them to test their weapon systems. And one thing they do know is that these hypersonic missiles that Iran has are essentially replicas of China's hypersonic missiles. So they act the same way. They use very similar guidance systems, etc. So this is a great chance for China to come in, get some of these missiles fired, run tests, see what works, see what doesn't. They're using this as a way to test America's defenses and to see how we can attack, what we can withstand, what we can hold. So I may be wrong, I may be right, but I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and guess. Since we have not seen any of these missiles fired yet, I think we will see them fired. I think Iran was likely going through their shittier missiles first.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.
And then they're going to progress because they don't want to run out. So if China's there, I anticipate in the next month we see hypersonic missiles being launched, and they will be there to test them, and they will be there with that big ass boat to tell them where to shoot them.
I think, too, Iran is waiting to see if the interceptors we have run low and then shoot the big boys off.
Yep.
Because then you can't intercept them.
Well, I don't think they can intercept those anyway.
Oh, really?
No, I'm pretty sure. Because a cool thing about, I guess it's not that cool. It's kind of scary.
He's like,
now that I think about it, these hypersonic missiles, they fly at whatever the speed is. It's some astronomical speed.
I think it's past the speed of sound, I think.
Yeah, it is. But in addition to that, as a hypersonic missile gets closer to Earth, it doesn't have a straight trajectory like most missiles. Just, it's going in a direct line towards the site.
It can move, can it?
As it approaches the site, these hypersonic missiles begin to move. And that messes with the radar systems. And honestly, the forms of interceptors that we have are not built for that type of movement. They don't have that type of radar built in, and they're not operating on those types of systems.
Ooh, that's not good.
So if they do have some of these, they're all landing. They're all landing.
And also was reports earlier this week that some of the radars in Israel are down because they said they told the Israelis in Israel that sometimes they won't be able to notify them when a bomb is coming anymore.
Wow.
So that kind of points to that some of their radar system has been damaged.
I'll get into that. So satellite data, leaked assessments, and defense analyses show extensive degradation of our assets in the Middle East. I'll go right into what some of the damage that we've had. Qatar, the Al Udeid Air Force Base, has damaged structures near communication and radar systems, including early warning radar systems, potentially an AN/FPS 132 variant. These are $1.1 billion and require years to replace. So our radar systems in Qatar are officially, or not officially because they haven't announced it, but according to the pictures I have seen and the satellite data I've looked at, these systems are down.
But they probably never announced that.
No, they'll never announce that. But do you think Qatar is going to allow us to rebuild those systems? Do you think they're going to pay like they did the first time to have the systems built? This could severely impair missile tracking across the region, forcing U.S. forces to rely on degraded alternatives, reducing sortie rates from 1,000 on day 1 to around 200 by day 8 due to logistical bottlenecks. So we've already seen this. Our sorties have increased by 80%. Decreased. Reports indicate prior hits on similar Qatari infrastructure last year, which exacerbate the problems.
I see.
Now we move on to Bahrain, the U.S. Fifth Fleet headquarters. Significant destruction, including demolished buildings, disrupted satellite communication terminals. Assessments describe the headquarters as heavily impacted with potential total loss of naval command functions, complicating coordination for assets like the USS Abraham Lincoln. So that base, if you look at pictures of it, looks like Gaza. That base has been hammered by Iranian missiles.
My goodness.
And you know, our government's not announcing this. Our news isn't announcing this. These are pictures I have physically looked at myself on satellite data. Kuwait, the Ali Al Salim Air Base, Camp Biring, and Camp Afrijan. Multiple sites show impact points on buildings, radars, and SATCOM equipment via satellite imagery. Strike on a command center there is what killed 6 of the U.S. soldiers to start it off. We have not had reports of the amount of wounded. We have those are so. I mean, how many people were injured?
Gotta be a lot of people injured.
Absolutely. Analysis suggests 1 or more bases could be completely decommissioned, with radar and radio systems completely destroyed, exposing U.S. forces and allies to further risks without quick replacements. Once again, Kuwait, who we were supposed to protect, has been attacked, lost their bases that we had, or massive damage to the bases. Do you think they are going to let us rebuild? UAE, Al Dhafra Air Base, and others. Satellite data indicates strikes on THAAD radar buildings at multiple locations with potential complete destruction or transportable units critical for high altitude defense. Over 100 ballistic missiles and hundreds of drones have hit the UAE. Sites suggest widespread degradation. This leads to critical interceptor shortages, prompting U.S. requests for 30 THAAD missiles from allies like South Korea, and leaving the regional defenses vulnerable for extended periods.
That helps South Korea with North Korea.
Yes. Yes. And now we're hurting our relationship with South Korea.
Yeah.
And once again, do you think the UAE is going to allow us to rebuild these bases after getting them involved in this? Moving on to Jordan. Imagery confirms the THAAD battery radar was struck and likely destroyed in the conflict. Full operational loss of the mobile system, which is vital for missile defense. Completely destroyed.
Completely destroyed.
Jordan, who we were supposed to protect. That's why we had an Air Force base there. We were supposed to protect them. Are they going to let us rebuild? Saudi Arabia, Prince Sultan Air Force Base. Satellite images show damage to radar sites, including randoms and satellite dishes. This disrupts surveillance for U.S. aircraft, part of targeted effort to blind command infrastructure. The U.S. Embassy in Riyadh faced a drone-induced fire, closing it amid evacuations.
Oh my goodness.
Saudi Arabia, who we're supposed to be protecting, who now has none of their money from people traveling there. Their economy's shut down. Their economy's hurting because they can't sell anything. Do you think they're going to let us rebuild? Iraq, Erbil International Airport. Satellite imagery reveals smoke and destroy buildings. Worst case scenario there is a significant disruption to U.S. troop operations in northern Iraq, which is going to create regional instability in Iraq. So now we've lost our ability to land troops and move them around in the region as well.
And you need Iraq if you're going to infiltrate Iran, because you need to go through Iraq.
Absolutely. Now, I would say, will Iraq let us rebuild? But Iraq doesn't have a choice, because we'll go right back to pounding sand over there, I'm sure.
Yeah, because we still have troops over there to this day.
Absolutely. So the scope. 7 of 11 sites across 5 countries targeted, primarily communications and radars, potentially dismantling up to 90% of U.S. regional bases and half of global billion-dollar air defense radars.
Jeez.
Dismantled potentially half of the global billion-dollar radar system.
Jeez.
U.S. is urging Americans to leave 14 countries, with embassies in Beirut, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia closed. We don't have embassies there. You have friends, family that went out. Too bad. Your nation's not.
That's another thing that
your
was.
country's not coming for them.
That was another thing that was very shocking to me, that we are the number one world superpower, and we have stranded citizens across the world we can't even go rescue.
With no plans.
With no plans.
No announced plans by our federal government to go rescue these United States citizens who are stuck abroad, away from their families, potentially away from their kids.
Yeah. And
No plans.
that really shows you how much we have fallen when it comes to our the amount of military power and brute force we can.
And remember, oh, we left Afghanistan in such a big hurry. We left so many people there. That was the big talking point by President Trump. Now look.
Still
Now look
people.
at thousands stranded across the Middle East.
Yep. That's true.
Man. I guess that also brings me, they also, people are like, well, we got to stay there too to make sure they don't get any intercontinental ballistic missiles. Have you heard that one yet?
I've heard that one. Yes, I've heard that one.
All analysts say they were 10 years away from them. All analysts, not a few, all.
Yeah, and, my opinion is a little shaky on that anyway, because I believe that, I might be wrong, but I believe the true reason why Iran even wants nuclear weapons in the first place is because of Israel.
Yes, to protect themselves.
Right.
From what's occurring right now.
Exactly, because nobody is attacking a country that has nuclear power.
I mean, we have other nations who have regimes that could be potentially classified as radical Islamists. Pakistan.
Yeah, Pakistan.
There's one. They have nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Have they used them? Have they
No.
have they fired one with zero concern about getting their 72 versions when we retaliate with nuclear weapons? No, they haven't fired them.
No.
The 72 versions aren't as appealing as you think. They could be fat.
No. And those countries like Iran and Pakistan understand that if you were to even attack American soil with an intercontinental missile with a warhead attached to it,
Your religion dies.
your
Religion dies.
yeah.
Your religion is gone. We kill every Muslim in the world.
Right. So I mean, the juice is not worth the squeeze. The odds that they would do that is very, very low.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh, but they're such a crazy regime. So are the other Islamic regimes in the Middle East, which do have missiles. I mean, crazy regime. Look what's going on in Israel. They've got nuclear weapons. They're also a crazy regime.
Right. Exactly.
I did miss this earlier. This is a lot of information. We were discussing how many bombs that could be built by us or how many interceptors and how little it was. So let me go over this. On day one of the conflict, we used 20 to 40 THAADs, 100 to 150 PAC-3s, and 400 to 60 T-LAMs. Day two, we used 30 to 50 THAADs, 150 to 200 PAC-3s, 300 to 500 T-LAMs.
Oh, wow.
Day three, 40 to 60 THAADs, 200 to 250 PAC-3s, 200 to 300 T-LAMs. So you can just see we have run through our interceptors. We've run through them. We are at a critically low level of interceptors. And how does that leave our nation?
Yeah.
What's here on our country's soil protecting us?
Yeah, it leaves us kind of helpless because we won't have any interceptors if something attack us,
And maybe we don't tell people about what we have here. That would make sense.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But
I don't know.
the more the merrier.
I don't know. The way they sound like they running through it, I don't know.
200, 300 of each a day? And we only produce 7 a month?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
You can't replace that. You can't.
Well, they just cost so much to make it. That's why.
And now what happens?
expensive.
What happens if there is an actual regional conflict that we have to get involved with? What happens if in Africa these conflicts where Christians are being killed? What happens if those escalate and there's hundreds of thousands of Christians dying, millions of Christians dying? What happens if it escalates?
Yeah, sure.
What do we have then? We've exhausted our resources.
Yeah.
For some Jews.
Yeah, pretty much.
What about the Christians?
That's true.
What about the Christians?
And it doesn't seem like it's going to end there. They're going to move on to Turkey, move on to other places. I mean, Trump the other day talking about he want Cuba next and everything. He want the whole world.
He wants the whole world, man.
He want to make the whole world great again. Did you see the slogan he had for Iran? He said, "Make Iran great again." Did you see that? He called it MEGA.
Do you want to know when Iran was great?
Me.
I'll tell you about when Iran was great. Iran was great before Israel and us stuck our nose in Iran to begin with,
Yeah.
60 years ago, Iranian women were on the beach in bikinis. The men were having fun. It was a very Western society.
Yeah.
Now, what changed? It wasn't the religion that changed.
Nope.
What happened was Israel specifically wanted to have puppet governments installed, and not in the sense of, oh, this puppet government is kind to us, nice to us, etc. No, they wanted these destabilizing forces controlling these nations. So, you put bad people in, you make everybody look bad, or you destabilize them, and then you have more power in your region. This whole entire thing has been a Mossad movement for the last 70, 60 years. And they are why they don't have a Western society anymore.
Yeah.
We had that 60 years ago, guys. We had a potentially another amazing ally like UAE, like all these, like Saudi Arabia. Like, we had another potential ally.
You did.
And we allowed them and likely helped them make it impossible.
Yeah. Are you talking about that time when they had that duly elected president and they removed him because he wanted to privatize the oil industry?
Yeah.
I think Britain helped on that too, I think, if I remember correctly.
That was part of it, but it goes along with, it's the same as Hamas. Hamas was not installed by the people of Palestine. That was a move done by the Israelis to create turmoil in the area.
Yeah, I heard they helped create Hamas.
They did. They helped create them. They helped install them. And the reason they did it is because instability means that you have less force to fight. You have a bunch of crazy people running the countries. Well, then A, they all look like assholes. And B, they're not really that organized.
So kind of more like divide and conquer.
Yes, divide and conquer. Divide and conquer.
Wow, that's interesting. Very interesting.
I guess let's get into the financial. Or actually, before we get into the financial,
Yeah, fine, okay.
I wanted to show you guys something too. While we're here complaining about Israel's tactics, I just wanted to show you guys this. Human Rights Watch confirmed Israel used white phosphorus munitions in residential areas of southern Lebanon and Yomor village on March 3rd, violating international humanitarian law. The organization verified 7 photos showing airburst white phosphorus artillery over populated areas, causing fires in at least 2 homes and civilian property. White phosphorus ignites when you expose oxygen and can cause death and lifelong injuries. These 155 millimeter artillery projectiles give distinct cloud smoke patterns or smoke patterns. It's indiscriminate on populated areas. So these things cause a lot of harm to people, and they're being fired indiscriminately into areas where civilian populations are, where children are, where babies are, where Christians are. So
Dang, yeah, it's terrible.
So it's just another example of how
So
they really don't care about the loss of life or how others are affected.
So it burns through skin and fails organs.
Yeah,
That is insane.
yeah, it's real nasty shit.
Holy
So they like we said earlier, they don't care about what means they win. They don't have a regard for human life, whether it be their own, whether it be ours, whether it be Muslims, whether it be whoever's.
Yeah, they just want to conquer everything. They want control of that whole region.
Man, this is all just
Which is it's what you about to say?
this is just really sad, man.
Yeah, it's sad and it's terrible because if they ever gain control of that whole region, they're just gonna run amok over there. Like
Once they control that region, then they're a world superpower, and
That's what I'm about to say, yeah.
Who is their next target?
Oh, us.
Us.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
Christian nation, obviously.
Well, yeah, us.
Once they're through the Muslims, who do you think they turn on next?
Yeah, they'll drop us in a minute.
Who?
Yeah, they'll drop us. In a
Who?
minute.
Their books they're pretty explicit about how shitty Christians are and how terrible we are. And, if they become a world superpower to the extent of us, China, Russia, we are one of their next targets, guys.
Yeah.
We are.
And so as much as as much as people might not like certain countries like Iran, you kind of need them there to keep the balance.
It's almost a
You need it.
unstable, stabilizing force.
Yeah. You need the balance there because them as a superpower, I can only imagine what they would do.
Iran as a Western civilization would have been
Oh yeah, it would
have
have
been the best deterrent.
Yeah, it would have been just like the Gulf states.
And boy, if they didn't get that to stop.
Yeah.
It's all planned, guys. They're not stupid.
No, they're not. They're not stupid. They've had this plan for decades. Yeah, and our next president, we need a president that really stands firm and goes against this agenda. I would say because we already had in Trump the stance on the domestic policies. He had a strong stance for that, but that final piece that we need is a president that has a really strong stance on foreign policy. That's that one piece of the puzzle that we're missing.
Yeah, I think the one piece of puzzle that we're missing is a dictator.
I did.
Come in and throw these blue hairs in prison, get all of our money back, hang a bunch of politicians who are doing a bunch of nasty illegal stuff to kids. Like I'm not really about that dictator thing, but we do need someone who does not give a shit.
Yeah, we need that.
That will push the legal limits of our system as absolutely hard as Democrats do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, because they push it a little bit harder than we do.
Well, I guess the last thing we really have to discuss on this,
and just turning out one more time, I think that's why Trump leans heavily on foreign policy decisions, because he's had over 100 injunctions by federal judges when it comes to the domestic policy. So I think he's like, well, fuck this domestic policy shit. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do with foreign policy
and try and make my name that way.
And try to make my name and legacy that way. Because I'm not gonna get anything done with this domestic. Because it's crazy that a president can actually do more and have more latitude domestically. I mean, foreign than they have domestically.
Yeah, it really is crazy. But also, you've had 2 years and you've accomplished nothing. What do you think you're going to accomplish when Democrats take office because of this war?
Yeah, because of that.
Because of this war, Democrats will take charge of Congress and the Senate.
Yeah, that's true.
End of story. It's written. It's going to happen. Mark my words. Take a note. If I'm wrong, come punch me in the head.
And
so I can have another black eye.
Another black. And that brings me to my point that of our closure to this is, what do you think the off ramp for this is? Do you think it is a possible off ramp for this war that Trump can kind of save face and save midterms?
No.
Oh man.
No, there's no saving midterms. There's no saving midterms. Okay, so we have a couple options. Option number one is we declare that we've won the war and we pull out. That's option number one. The declaration would be a false declaration, but the declaration could be made nonetheless. If that happens, we are back in Iran. If we don't sever these ties with Israel, we're back in Iran in 5 years.
Yeah.
They're going to rebuild their missile systems. They're going to rebuild their uranium enrichment. They're going to rebuild all these things.
Yeah, they're just like last time we dropped it last year. And
isn't it funny that, they keep saying they have uranium, but they never had a bomb. Like, what? Were they even close?
I don't even know if they was close.
Were they even close? Do you believe our government enough that they were even close?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Who's trustworthy? Is there a person that has actual information on that you trust, that you would believe? Because I don't believe anyone.
I don't believe anyone, especially when it comes to that, because...
Show me the proof.
I mean, Netanyahu started that about 40 years ago, saying they were a week. He said they were a week away 40 years ago. Have you seen those videos? So I don't know who to believe.
I know who not to believe. I just don't know who to believe anymore.
40 years ago. So, I don't know. I'm with you on that one. I don't know.
My first resolution, I think we could potentially declare it a victory and pull out, which will be a lie. And it will do several things. The first thing it will do is Iran will never take our threats ultimately serious again. They know they'll always be able to survive if we pull out now.
Right.
They know.
The,
So now they have no incentive, zero incentive to ever
Negotiate
make a deal again. If we pull out, Iran has zero incentive for the foreseeable history to ever make a deal.
Yeah,
So
they
that's
never make a
the
deal.
first thing that I see could happen. The second thing that I think is possible
Okay.
and likely is boots on the ground.
Okay.
Now, to the extent that we put boots on the ground, I think it will be limited. If we're smart, it has to be limited. But
Yeah, it'd be smart.
But a limited boots on the ground means one thing.
Right.
We're either there for 10, 20, 30 years, or we pull the boots out and it's still a loss and we still never get to negotiate with them again and we still don't accomplish our goals. Regardless of the option, we are not going to accomplish our goals.
Yeah, because a few boots on the ground not gonna cause a regime change of a country that size.
No, my prediction is that in 10 years or less, Iran has rebuilt a significant amount, and they are in control of the strait again.
And they're in control of the strait again.
And we no longer have as many allies or military bases in the Middle East to protect the strait.
I definitely think that's gonna happen.
And now Iran will have a chokehold on oil prices internationally.
Yes, that's a good analysis.
That's what I foresee.
That's what you see. But so if you was a betting man, you would go with Trump just pulling out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he can put boots on the ground, guys. You put boots on the ground before November. I mean, even if you thought you had a 1% chance of winning primaries.
Oh yeah, you got.
Maybe, and also the other thing could be maybe he knows there's not a chance.
Yeah, maybe he just.
So he's like, I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah, just throw in the towel and do what he want. Yeah, just throw in the towel. Yeah.
This old boy's getting impeached
Now.
in November.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, I guess it'll be January when they take
Yeah,
off.
January. Yeah.
January he's getting impeached, as is every
On war
official.
Yeah, on war crimes.
Every cabinet official, the president, the vice president, they're all going to be impeached.
Yeah, because they did handle this pretty bad. I would have to say. Now, do you think that there's any? Now, do you think their back is up against the wall and there's any chance of a tactical nuke?
Is there a chance? Sure, there's a chance, but I think it would be the end of the world.
You think it'd be the end of the world?
I think a tactical nuke would do multiple things. A tactical nuke used in Iran would open the door for Russia to use tactical nukes in Ukraine. It would open the door for China to use tactical nukes to
Taiwan.
Yep, on Taiwan to complete their endeavors there. I think a tactical nuke begins a nuclear war, a mass scale nuclear war across
Between different countries.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just looking at all the reason why I say that because I'm just looking at how because it's just unprecedented.
I mean, that would break our treaty with every country in the world.
Yeah, I know. It's just unprecedented how he's bringing in all these B-21 bombers. I mean, he's got now it looked like it was like three or four of them all over there flying at the same time. And they were saying that that's really never happened, that we've had that many bombers that fly into a location.
This is the largest. This is the largest accumulation of military force, I believe, in the history of the world.
It just, yeah. So that's why it just kind of worrying to me because we know what bombers drop. So I'm just like, why are you bringing in?
I mean, anything can happen, but I would hope. And he's got these little birdies like Lindsey Graham in his ear.
And you know they love
these accelerationalists that are essentially ready for the world to end, ready to bring upon the world the end.
Yeah.
They're going to be chirping in his ear to do it. They're already chirping in his ear to do it.
I know they have to be.
They're already asking him to do it.
Yeah.
And if he does it, I don't think he will because he knows it'll ruin his legacy.
Yeah, definitely ruin his legacy. Yeah.
He will be talked about as one of the worst presidents if he does it.
Yeah.
That singular action would negate every positive thing he's ever done.
Yeah, it would.
And it would also change the geopolitical environment forever.
Mm-hmm.
In the entire world, everything would be different forever because now nukes are always on the table.
Yeah.
They're always on the table after that, forever.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it won't be an argument not
because what is going to be our argument for using it? Well, they were going to come get us. With what? With what? Like, what is going to be the argument? What is going to be the actual defensible and reasonable argument that can be articulated for that action?
Yeah, for an action.
I don't believe there is one. And I also will, if that were to occur, I don't know what I would do, man, but I would be rioting in the streets.
I think that would be time.
I don't know what I would do, but I would. I don't know, man. This is all scary. It is.
It's all scary, man.
Let's get out of here.
You got some happy?
Yeah, I guess I got something happy. The U.S. House of Representatives effectively killed a measure that would force the public to release reports related to sexual misconduct
Not happy?
and harassment. Okay. Guys, presenting the news could make you a depressed person. It hasn't gotten me yet, but it could make you a depressed person. The U.S. House of Representatives effectively killed a measure that would have forced the public release of reports related to sexual misconduct and harassment investigations involving members of Congress or their staff. House Resolution 1072, introduced by Nancy Mace of South Carolina. It directed the House Ethics Committee to publicly disclose within 60 days all relevant investigative reports on allegations of sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, or all relevant investigative reports on allegations of sexual harassment, misconduct, or sexual relationships between members and subordinates and staffers.
Oh, that's the kicker right there.
Yep.
You know that's happening a lot.
That's happening a lot. So on March 4th, the House voted 357 against the resolution with 65 for it. To refer the resolution to the Ethics Committee. So people are going to say, oh, they didn't vote against it. They referred it to the Ethics Committee. Well, if you know anything about government, the Ethics Committee is where you put things that you don't want to deal with so they die.
Right.
It's a common procedural movement that it effectively kills or stalls a bill. Permanently, long term, it effectively kills the bill.
And they'll never bring that back up again.
Yeah, so, I guess those who oppose it argued could chill cooperation from victims and witnesses and harm ongoing investigations. Did they just make up the dumbest things they can say to screw us all the time?
What?
Yeah, this comes amid ongoing scrutiny of congressional misconduct, including a reference to a slush fund for settlements. So they created this slush fund for these congressional members, senators, etc., slush funds that they could pull money out of to pay people to go away and shut up. So rather than pass this bill to expose them, they allowed to keep their slush funds and keep paying people off and keep, committing sexual misconduct.
And they probably got them signing NDAs and everything to keep them quiet.
And once you get that payment, if you want the payment, you got to sign this.
Yeah.
Never discuss it again.
That's terrible.
All right, so I guess we can move on to something.
Dang, we getting whooped on all fronts.
You're right. Let me get off I shouldn't have went there first. Let's go on. Well, let's end it on a happy note, guys. No, this isn't a happy note either.
Really?
Oh, no. Go right to 3. We have Freedom 250, the UFC fight card at the White House. And what a disappointment.
You said disappointment.
What a disappointment. First off, my first complaint of the fight card is that you do not have an American fighting in every one of the fights.
Are there a lot of American fighters in
UFC?
UFC?
Oh, predominantly.
Oh, really?
I'd say the not a majority, but the largest percentage.
Oh.
We don't have all American fighters at the White House, and we don't have the matches we expect to see. We expected to see John Jones versus Alex Pereira. We expected to see all these huge fights, and they weren't booked. So the night is going to start with Diego Lopez and Steve Garcia. I mean, good fight, but good fight. But let's be fair. Steve Garcia is likely going to lose to Diego Lopez. Wouldn't you want the White House card to be set up where Americans were at every fight and just ran the card and whooped everybody's ass?
Yeah, because isn't this the 250th anniversary?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why not set it up so you got a bunch of Americans beating everybody up?
Yeah, that would be nice.
What is this?
That would be nice.
Next fight of the night, Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. I mean, neither one of them's ranked. Neither's ranked. Wait. We're supposed to be excited about this. I know people are ride Bo Nickel's nuts, but he's not even ranked.
Yeah, not even ranked.
Next fight, Mauricio Ruppy versus Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler will likely lose. So now we got 2 Americans losing. Next fight, Sean O'Malley versus Alman's Hobby. There's a bantamweight bout. This could be a close one. This one could go either way. But it could also potentially be another American loss. Mm-hmm. Next fight, Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gahn. 2 people not from the United States. Cool fight. Yeah, let's watch Cyril Gahn poke him in the eye a bunch of times. Like, this is shit fight card, guys. And last fight of the evening, we have Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. I think that will be an exciting fight. I anticipate a knockout, and I anticipate Justin Gaethje getting knocked out for the 4th and final loss of Americans on the Freedom 250 United States White House UFC fight card.
So are you going to be watching this?
I'm going to watch it, but this is really just pathetic organization.
Yeah, you're a big UFC
This
fan.
is a terrible card. I mean, it's okay, but for what it's supposed to be, it's not great. It's not great.
Yeah, I know you love a UFC.
Oh, I love fighting. That's why my eyes black.
Yeah, you keep up with it.
I don't fight in the streets, guys. This was training.
I don't keep up with UFC too much. I keep up more with boxing, but with UFC, are the matchups usually better than this for pay-per-view and stuff?
I mean, there's some big names here, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the big names are like, okay, so for instance, you got Michael Chandler and Mauricio Ruffy. Michael Chandler's at the end of his career. He's on he's been getting beat up a lot. It's not going to be a great fight. Sean O'Malley, he's on his comeback tour, so that might be a good fight.
Okay.
Alex Pereira and Cyril Gahn. I think my big thing with that is Alex Pereira started out 2 weight classes below this heavyweight. He is A, going to have a man in his face who pokes eyes. B, he's going to have a man in his face who's much larger than him. And C, I don't think it's going to be the most exciting fight. I think the most exciting fight of the night will be Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje, and I think Justin's going to get knocked the hell out. Now he surprises us at times, but I mean, just look at it, man. Look at all these. I mean, this is the best card. No, number 2 versus number 9, unranked versus unranked. Number 9 versus number 13. Number 3 versus number 6. Number unranked versus first. The champion versus the interim champion. So it's, I expected to see 2 or 3 belts transferred this night. I wanted to see 2 to 3 championship fights. And we're not getting it.
Give me some Conor McGregor.
I honestly expected, I wasn't sure. I thought there was maybe a 25% chance we'd see a Conor McGregor fight. I thought maybe he would fight Michael Chandler. That would have been
nice.
That's the fight we waited on for years that never occurred.
Yeah.
I thought we'd see John Jones come back and maybe he would fight for the heavyweight championship. But obviously he can't because Tom Aspinall has an eye injury. But maybe John Jones comes and fights Alex Pereira. That would be a great fight because they're both light heavyweights before and are now in heavyweight. That'd be a great fight.
That'd be an amazing fight.
The card's weak. John Jones is crying because he didn't get booked. But at the same time, John Jones screwed over the UFC for so long, avoiding Aspinall, that I think they saw this as an opportunity to get him back by not putting him on the card.
I see.
So,
and where are they doing this at? In the front yard or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be exciting.
That's
Woo!
Okay.
So exciting. All the Americans are gonna get their asses beat. Horrible fight card. That's all I got for you guys tonight. That's all. So, I don't know. You got anything to end on here?
Well, I mean, we covered a lot. And most of it was doom and gloom, though. But at least that was I guess a little bit happy.
Yeah, sorry, guys. You know what? I'm gonna make a big focus for next week to bring you guys some more positive and uplifting news if I can find it.
Well, shoot, when is politics ever positive?
Yeah, that's true.
We haven't had positive politics in probably 40 years, 40,
Yeah.
40, 50 years.
Well, guys, I'll be pray for the troops this week that we have over across seas.
Definitely.
Keep them in your hearts and prayers. Pray for our country as we're experiencing this influx and terrorist attacks. Although small, they could be they have the potential to gain size and in regularity. So keep our country in your prayers moving forward this week, and just pray.
And I would say, with the domestic terrorist attacks, make sure you guys are really analyzing the terrorist attacks and making sure they're not false flags to try to get us to support a war, because sometimes they'll do false flags domestically to try to get us to support a war.
Yeah, like the assassination on Trump was an Iranian and it was some white dude.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? Some white kid with long hair. He looks gay as shit. He don't talk to Iranians.
Right. I was like, so you telling me
That little
was
boy?
in communication
Bullshit.
with the Ayatollah?
This is how stupid they think. I gotta get off here. I'm done. Love you guys. I appreciate the support.
Okay.
Thanks
All
for
right.
tuning in.
We'll see you next time.